The shadows were longer than the past. Rain had been falling for 3 hours, and Blackstone, a city by the bay, was slowly dissolving into a gray sludge of street lamps and hushed voices. Drops ticked on the tin roof of the Gratitude Bar, blending with the wail of a saxophone bleeding through the wall, as if the air itself smoked cheap cigarettes and drank from a cloudy glass. On the corner stood a man, hunched like he bore a cross invisible to everyone else. His fingers trembled not from cold, from memory. John Mulligan. They used to call him Hoover's chauffeur, until he vanished with a 30,000 shipment of whiskey. Then, silence. People assumed he was dead. But the past is like an old bullet. Even if it's removed, it still aches. Now he lived in the basement of a former brothel on River Street, in a room with a fogged-up window, a battered suitcase, and an ashtray full of unsaid things. He avoided mirrors and people, especially those who remembered his voice more than his face. And then, a letter. No stamp, no name, just one word: Judy. He held the paper like it might bite. The name burned more than the cigarette smoke. Judy was the other. When he ran whiskey across the border, she rode shotgun, pistol in her purse, and a smile like a steel trap. Then she disappeared, and he remained, exiled, broken, and with a name people whispered only in fear. But now she was back, or someone wanted him to think so. He could have burned the letter, walked away, boarded a barge and forgotten. But he stayed, stepped out into the rain. It slapped his face like old debts. There was only forward. The Gratitude Bar hadn't changed. Same lamps wrapped in cobwebs, same shadows underfoot. Inside smelled of liquor and lipstick. Behind the counter stood Lowell, an ex-cop who knew who to ask for and who to bury in silence. "Mulligan?" he said without looking. "You've been gone 100 years, drinking or vanishing again?" "I know. Just a question," John said. "Judy, she here?" Lowell wiped a glass. Slowly. Too slowly. "Maybe she was. Maybe she waited. Said if you showed up, tell you she's in room 3 upstairs." "That all?" "One more thing. She wasn't alone." Mulligan walked upstairs in silence. Each step creaked like it might cost a life. The light was dim, time thick. He knocked once, and the door opened. She looked older. Not in years, in gravity. In the way her eyes moved before her head did. In the way she stood, one hand still on the knob, the other out of sight. The room behind her was dim, window cracked, curtain fluttering like a weak pulse. She wore a silk dress the color of bruises. Her hair was damp, curled slightly at the ends. There was no lipstick, no perfume. Just Judy, and something behind her moved. Mulligan stood in the threshold like he'd stepped into a memory he tried hard to forget. Rain dripped from his coat. The hallway smelled of dust and old crimes. She didn't smile. "John." Her voice was quieter than he remembered, smokier, like it had scraped against a few bad years. "Judy," he said. No more. She stepped aside. He entered slowly. Floorboards creaked like bones. On the table, 2 empty glasses. One chair pulled back. A radio hummed low in the corner, spitting static between jazz notes. She closed the door behind him. "You got my note?" He nodded. "No one else writes in that ink." She poured from the bottle, 2 fingers each. No ice. The whiskey hit his throat like glass. She watched him drink, watched how his hand shook before he set the glass down. "I didn't know where else to go," she said. That was a lie. Judy always had somewhere, or someone. Mulligan looked at the second chair, the one pulled back. "He's still here?" She didn't answer right away. That was an answer. "You shouldn't have come," she said. "You called. I didn't think you would." "Then why call?" Silence. The rain was soft now, almost gentle like regret. Then she sat, slow, deliberate. She looked like a woman waiting for the past to sit down and talk. "I'm in trouble," she said. "I gathered. It's not just me." He waited. "There's a boy, 13. Looks like me, but meaner, smarter. He saw something he shouldn't have. Down at the docks, the Kaplan job." He blinked, once. That name still carried teeth. You're saying Kaplan's alive? Alive and bleeding, but not for long. They're cleaning house. Mulligan stared at her. Her face was calm, but her knee bounced slightly. He'd seen her play poker with gangsters and make them fold with just her breath. But this wasn't a bluff. And the boy? She hesitated. Too long. He's mine. He felt the floor shift, the kind of shift that starts behind your ribs. Yours? He asked, voice even. And yours? The room went quiet. The shadows twitched under the table. The jazz died out, replaced by a soft crackle. He lit a cigarette. His hand didn't shake now. The first drag tasted like a punch to the soul. You ran. I survived. He stood, walked to the window, looked down at the wet street. No cars, no watchers, but he knew that meant nothing. They'll come for you, he said. They already did. She pulled her sleeve back, purple bruises up her arm, old and fresh, like she'd been hunted, like someone wanted her silent. I hit him with Mags, she said, on Pine Hill. Mags, old whore with a sharp mind and a slower liver. Good choice. He doesn't know who you are, she added. Maybe that's for the best. No, she said, it's not. He turned. Her eyes met his, sharp, exhausted, real. I didn't come back for you, she said. I came back for him. But I need help. His laugh was dry, hollow. You think I'm a shield now? No, I think you're a ghost who remembers how to bleed. They stood in the room like two countries with broken treaties. The air between them was thick with unsaid years. Rain hit the window now in slow, tired rhythms. He looked at the table, at the glasses, at the dust on the lampshade, at her. Then he took off his coat, hung it on the chair. You said they're cleaning house? She nodded. Tonight, one by one. Anyone who knew Kaplan's routes. Which means you, she said softly. He exhaled through his nose. I can get him out, he said, but not with you in the picture. She stepped close, too close. I'm not asking you to save me. You never did. Their breath mingled. She smelled like smoke and bruises. Do it for him, she said. He didn't answer. Didn't need to. The clock ticked, 11:47. She picked up the second glass and drank. Fast. The silence between them curled around the light bulb, flickered once, then held. He moved to the door. Where's Kaplan now? Warehouse 17, Pier East. You sure? She nodded. He's not the one I'm afraid of. He paused, turned back. Then who? Judy met his gaze. Your old boss, O'Shaughnessy. That name landed like a knife between his shoulders. He left without another word. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the gutters still whispered secrets. He lit another cigarette, stared at the street light bending over the corner like a tired priest. One kindness. One. That's how it starts. The street smelled of rust and stale water. Somewhere a drain was choking. Mulligan walked fast, collar up, boots hitting pavement like a metronome for bad decisions. The fog rolled in from the bay, thick and low, as if the city wanted to hide its face tonight. Warehouse 17 stood at the end of East Pier, past the silent loading cranes and rows of crates that hadn't moved in days. The sign over the door was rusted to bones. One overhead bulb flickered like it was debating whether to live or die. Mulligan didn't knock. Inside smelled like rope, oil, and lies. He kept his hand near the holster stitched into the lining of his coat. The shadows were tall, reaching. Pallets leaned like tired men. And near the back, under the skeletal remains of a freight elevator, Kaplan sat, alive, barely, one arm in a sling, a cut across his scalp. His face had aged 5 years in one. He was sipping something from a chipped enamel cup. His eyes rose slow and Mulligan stepped into the light. Jesus, Kaplan said. I thought you were dead. Not yet. You look it. They stared. Two dogs who once shared a bone. Kaplan gestured to a stool. I don't have long. Mulligan didn't sit. They're coming for you. I know. You shouldn't have resurfaced. I didn't. Kaplan set the cup down. The liquid inside was dark. It smelled like bootleg cough syrup. They found me, or someone pointed them. Mulligan lit a cigarette, took a slow drag. Judy? Kaplan laughed, but it ended in a cough. You always thought she was cleaner than the rest of us. She came to me. Of course she did. Because of the boy. Kaplan stopped. His eyes flicked sharp. You mean her boy? Mulligan didn't answer. Kaplan sighed. She said he was yours. She lied? No, just chose her moment. Who's running this now? Mulligan asked. Not you. Kaplan shook his head. Not since O'Shaughnessy came back. That name again, like old rot under floorboards. Thought he got run out. Ran himself out. Too much blood on the books. Now he's back, cleaner, richer, meaner. Got the commission boys on his side. He want the boy? Kaplan nodded. More than me. Kid saw too much. Drew a map. A map? Of the drop points, all 5. Labeled. Even sketched the trucks. Mulligan exhaled smoke. Smart kid. Too smart. O'Shaughnessy thinks she fed him. Did she? Kaplan shrugged. She's always played both sides. But she didn't mean for this. Outside, a ship's horn groaned into the fog. Low, hollow, like something dying. Mulligan looked at the cup. Is it worth dying for? Kaplan looked at him. He's your kid, John. Not mine. I was just the one who stayed behind when you ran. That stung. Because it was true. I left because I had a target the size of Chicago on my back. You left her too. They both stood in it. The silence, the accusation. Mulligan ground the cigarette out on the steel grate. Where's O'Shaughnessy now? Hotel Atherton. Top floor. 2 guards. 1 crooked bellhop. He moves at midnight. Mulligan checked his watch. 12:09. You're late, Kaplan muttered. I'm always late. Kaplan stood, swayed a little. If you're going to him, you'll need more than words. Mulligan lifted the edge of his coat. The grip of a Colt gleamed like bad intentions. Kaplan snorted. Still using the 24 model? Still works. They moved together toward the back exit. Fog curled under the door like fingers. Kaplan stopped. I'm not getting out of this, am I? No, Mulligan said. But he might. He didn't go to Atherton right away. He went up Pine Hill. The climb was slow. The streets here were cobbled, slick with wet moss. Maggs's place sat under a dead tree, the porch sagging like a shrug. He knocked once, twice. She opened with a shotgun in hand, hair in a net. Maggs, he said. Jesus Christ, thought you died in a ditch. Still might? The boy? Sleeping. Judy left him 2 nights ago. Why? She said they'd trace her, not him. Told me to keep him quiet, hidden. Any visitors? 1, thin man, nice coat. Didn't like his eyes. Did he see the boy? No, but he asked for him. Mulligan stepped inside. The place smelled of kerosene and cat. In the back, down a narrow hall, a door was slightly open. He looked in. The boy was asleep under a threadbare quilt, one arm out, face turned to the wall. His breathing was slow even. Mulligan closed the door without sound. He's smart, Maggs said behind him. Drew diagrams, names, even guessed where the money gets laundered. How? He listens, like someone who's had to hide since he was born. Mulligan lit a fresh cigarette. She said he's mine. Maggs didn't blink. You believe her? Not yet. Don't wait too long. He left her with 2 bills and a warning. If anyone comes, run him out the back. Into the trees. Don't wait. Don't think. She nodded. Rain started again. Harder now, angrier. He walked downtown through puddles that mirrored the city's teeth. The Atherton loomed up ahead like a lie made of limestone. He checked the watch again. 12:42. Midnight had passed. This was the part where men either died or made themselves something else. The Atherton smelled like money and mold. Mulligan moved through the lobby slow, rain dripping from his coat, hat low. Marble floors, gold trim, a chandelier that hadn't been cleaned since the Lindbergh flight. The night clerk barely looked up. He took the stairs. The elevator was a trap. Bright, loud, nowhere to run. Stairs were safer, quieter. Each step groaned under his boots. On the 5th floor landing, he paused, listened. 2 voices at the end of the hall. muffled, sharp. One coughed, one laughed, no radio. He moved fast. Room 502. The door was closed, light leaking under the bottom. He drew the Colt, flipped the safety, knocked twice. Silence. Then the scrape of a chair. A whisper. The bolt. The door cracked open. He kicked it in. The man behind it flew back, hit the dresser. Mulligan stepped over him. The second guard reached. Too slow. The Colt barked once. The man dropped, face first on the carpet. Blood spread fast. Not fast enough to drown the sound of O'Shaughnessy's voice from the next room. Well, well, if it isn't the ghost. Mulligan turned. The suite was split in two. Front room for fools, back room for kings. He moved forward, gun up. O'Shaughnessy was at the far end. Coat off, tie loose, drink in hand. He looked older, thinner, but his eyes hadn't aged a day. You came for Judy or the kid? He asked. Neither, Mulligan said. Then why? Mulligan stepped in, slowly. Because you don't get to win, O'Shaughnessy sipped. I already did. You left corpses. Now you want to hang it all on a 13-year-old. The boy's a risk. Too much memory. Too much talent. That's not reason. That's fear. O'Shaughnessy smiled. Same thing, John. In this world, it's the only kind of truth. Mulligan aimed. Call it off. You're late. They already have her. A beat, then another. What? Judy, O'Shaughnessy said. She's in the wind now. Or the river. Depends on how slow they cut her. Mulligan moved, fast. The Colt came up. O'Shaughnessy ducked, pulled a Derringer from behind the whiskey bottle. Fired, missed. Mulligan didn't. The shot hit O'Shaughnessy high, just below the shoulder. He spun, dropped the glass. Blood sprayed against the white drapes like old paint. Where? O'Shaughnessy gasped. Warehouse 9, East Docks. Mulligan turned, but the old man coughed a laugh. She came to me first, John. Offered the map. Offered the boy. Just wanted out. He stopped. She what? She gave him up. Sook him. No. O'Shaughnessy grinned through blood. Oh, yes. Until she learned you were still breathing. Then she flipped the coin. Problem is, it was already in the air. Mulligan stared. The gun in his hand trembled now. A different kind of weight. He walked out, didn't run. Warehouse 9 stood lower than the others, sunken with windows like slits and a roof patched with rusted tin. The lock was new, too new. He shot it off, stepped inside. Dark. Then, movement. John? Her voice weak. Where are you? Back wall. He followed the sound, stepped over rope, found her tied to a chair, wrist raw, mouth bleeding, her dress torn, one eye swollen, but alive. He cut her loose. She collapsed forward. He caught her. Her breath was wet. Did they touch the boy? No, she gasped. Not yet. Who else knows? No one, just... She stopped, coughed. He looked her in the eye. Did you sell him? A pause, then... I tried. Silence swallowed the room. I didn't think you were still alive, she said. I thought maybe they'd spare him. I was wrong. He stepped back. You used him. She shook her head. Not like that. But enough. She tried to stand. Failed. I came back for you, she said. Not for him. I didn't know how. The warehouse groaned. Wind cut through broken panes. Mulligan looked at her. Really looked. You were always better at leaving, he said. I never stopped looking, she whispered. He lit a match, set it against the oil drum. Flame caught. Shadows ran. He saw her more clearly now. Face streaked, eyes raw but not lying. Not anymore. Can you walk? He asked. She nodded. They moved together, slow, like ghosts returning from war. Outside, the city was darker than before. He walked her 2 blocks before the rain came again. This time it didn't stop. By the time they reached the alley behind Mag's place, the rain was a wall. Their clothes clung like guilt. Mulligan knocked in rhythm, 2 short, 1 long. The door opened on a chain. Mags peered out, shotgun in hand. It's us, he said. She unlatched. Judy stumbled in first, dripping and shaking. Mulligan followed, locking the bolt behind him. The boy stood at the table, eyes wide, jaw set. He didn't move, just stared at Judy. She stared back. "I'm sorry," she said. No answer. "I never meant—" "You left," the boy said. "Twice." Mags touched his shoulder. He pulled away. "She came back," Mulligan said. "That's what they always do." Mulligan looked at the boy. Sharp bones, fast eyes, spine of steel. Not afraid, not anymore. The boy glanced at him, like measuring distance. "You him?" he asked. "I might be." Silence. "Then we should go," the boy said. "Now." Judy flinched but nodded. "Yes." Mags opened the back door. "I prepped the Buick." "How far'll it get?" Mulligan asked. "Enough. I siphoned from the cops' cruiser. They won't miss it for another hour." "And the road?" "Flooded east, but north's still dry." Mulligan looked at Judy, then at the boy. "Pack light," he said. "We run in two." The Buick's tires cut through wet gravel like claws. Headlights off. The city retreated behind them, blinking, coughing, trying to remember their names. At the edge of the river bridge, Mulligan saw them. Two black cars, parked wrong, one figure leaning on the rail, smoking, the other pacing. Rain glinted off their coats like scales. O'Shaughnessy's cleanup crew. He killed the engine. Judy leaned forward. "We run." "No," Mulligan said. He stepped out, slow. Rain plastered his hair, his coat. His boots hit the water pooled in the street. He walked down the middle. No cover, no surprise. Just motion. The man on the left turned, raised a hand. Mulligan raised his too. "I don't want blood," he said. "Too late," the smoker replied. The second man pulled a weapon. Mulligan dropped, fast. The Colt cleared coat and fired before the shout even rose. First shot caught the smoker in the leg. He went down screaming. Second hit the second man in the neck. He twitched, folded. A third figure stepped from the shadows behind the car. Taller, faster. Mulligan dove left. A shot rang out. Missed. He rolled, came up under the bridge rail, fired once, twice. The figure staggered, collapsed onto the hood, blood blooming from his chest like ink in water. Silence, then a voice behind him. "John!" He turned. Judy stood behind him, the boy at her side. Her hands shook, but they held a small revolver. "Why?" he asked. "They would have shot you. I couldn't—" She didn't finish. The boy looked at the bodies. "That's all of them?" "No," Mulligan said, "but enough for now." They got back in the car. The next 40 miles were all dark. No signs, no stars, just wet trees, road slime, and the sound of tires arguing with time. Mulligan drove fast, but not wild. Judy sat up front, arms around herself. The boy slept in the back, head against the door, lips slightly parted, one hand still clenched like a fist. At 4:17 a.m., they stopped at a gas station that hadn't closed in 20 years. Mulligan pumped. Judy bought coffee. No one asked questions. He watched her from across the hood. She handed him a tin cup. "You're bleeding," she said. He looked down. A graze on his ribs. Slow red line under the shirt. "Nothing deep," he muttered. She touched it, lightly. Her fingers trembled. He didn't move. "I tried to do right," she said. "You ran." "I didn't know how to stay." Silence. "You're here now," he said. She looked at the boy through the windshield. "Will he hate me?" "Eventually," Mulligan said, "but not forever." She smiled barely. "That's the most hope you've ever given me." He lit a cigarette. Rain ticked on the roof. Behind them, the station sign flickered, half lit, half dead. "Where will we go?" she asked. "North, past Black Hollow. I know a man. Doesn't ask." "And after that?" He didn't answer. Instead, he opened the door. The boy stirred. "Keep driving," Mulligan said. Judy nodded. She took the wheel this time. He sat beside the boy, who blinked at him slowly. "You shot them," the boy said. "Yes. I could have helped." "You did. You stayed quiet." "I don't want to be like her." "You won't be. Or you." That one hit deeper. He looked away. The rain picked up again. The wipers groaned. "Good," Mulligan said softly. "You should be better." They drove the next stretch in silence. At sunrise, the road curved through dead pine and old hills. The world looked cleaner, even if nothing else was. Mulligan closed his eyes once. When he opened them, the boy was still watching him, not with fear, with understanding, and that was worse. They crossed in a hollow vale at dusk. No signs. Just broken fence posts and a field that hadn't seen a plow in years. Mulligan stepped out first, boots sinking into wet soil. The boy followed, slower. Judy stayed in the car. A wind moved through the trees like someone exhaling grief. He knelt beside the creek, washed the blood from his hands, watched it twist in the water. Dark, reluctant. Behind him, the boy asked, "Is this where we stay?" "No," Mulligan said. "This is where we start." Judy lit a cigarette, watching them through the windshield. Her face was unreadable, equal parts steel and sorrow. Mulligan stood, looked once at the road behind. There were no sirens, no footsteps, just quiet. He reached in his coat, pulled out a small photo, bent, water-damaged. A woman, young, smiling. He set it on a stump, left it there. The boy asked, "Was that her?" "No," Mulligan said. "That was the last time I was human." And they walked on.